Ancient Greece is often referred to as the birthplace of democracy, and for a good reason. It was in the ancient Greece where the idea of democracy was first conceived and put into practice, laying the foundation for the modern democratic institutions that we have today. One of the key features of the ancient democracy was the concept of direct democracy, in which all citizens had the right to participate in the decision-making process. This was in contrast to the representative democracy that we have today, where citizens elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. The Greek city-state of Athens started laying the groundwork for a novel type of governmental structure in the later half of the 6th century BC. Hippias, the last tyrant to rule Athens, abandoned the city in response to Sparta's invasion in 510 BC. Athenian nobleman Cleisthenes helped bring about democratic reforms a few years later. The Athenian democracy was a system in which all male citizens over the age of 18 had the right to participate in the assembly, where they could debate and vote on legislation. The assembly also elected officials and held them accountable for their actions. Women were excluded from positions in government and public sphere, since participation in the Athenian democracy was only open to adult male Athenian citizens. Historians calculate that there were probably about 90,000 additional inhabitants in Athens at the time the city-state established democracy, assuming that there were roughly 30,000 Athenian men at that time. Since it was against the law for Athenians to enslave other Athenians, a sizable portion of these people would have been slaves who were not Athenians. Others were resident aliens who were free to dwell in Athens but did not fulfill the criteria for Athens citizenship. Athens' democracy came to an end in 322 BC when Macedonia overthrew the city-state and installed an oligarchy administration. The impact of the Athenian democracy on the Roman Republic, which persisted until 27 BC, was one of its most significant legacies. The Roman Republic modified the concept of direct democracy to produce a representative democracy, which piqued the curiosity of Europeans and European colonies some centuries later. The ancient Greeks placed a high value on the idea of civic virtue, which emphasized the importance of individuals working for the common good. This idea of civic virtue has been carried over into the modern democracies, where individuals are encouraged to participate in community service and to work towards the betterment of a society as a whole. In ancient Greece, citizenship was considered to be a crucial component of democracy, as only citizens had the right to participate in the political process. This idea of citizenship has been carried over into modern democracies, where citizenship is considered to be a key factor in determining an individual's rights and responsibilities. In ancient Greece, citizens had the right to free speech, the right to participate in political process, and the right to have a fair trial. These rights were seen as crucial components of democracy and were protected by law. This idea of individual rights has been carried over into modern democracies, where protection of individual rights is seen as key responsibility of the government. The influence of ancient Greece on modern democratic institutions and principles is clear. Through the development of direct democracy ruled by law, citizenship, individual rights, and civic virtue, ancient Greece laid the foundation for the modern democratic systems that we have today. While modern democracies have evolved and developed into many ways since the time of ancient Greece, the principles and values that were established during that time continue to shape our understanding of what democracy means and how it should be practiced.